on this day, I was talking about that 700 sweep on the Telegram, and I got out of that trade right around the VWAP when it stalled there. I was able to pick that back up with a couple contracts and bring it down close to that settlement as it came through. I just put a stop down there and it took me out. And then I was looking for this lower high. So as this starts to develop, I'll add a couple contracts to this. But then we get kind of hung up there in that low volume area. You'll see as I add these contracts. So I thought we would move, because we swept the overnight, we swept the 700, but that included sweeping the overnight low, the overnight high. I was automatically trying to get to the overnight low, which is basically a little bit lower. You can see the orange line where my orders are resting right there. That would be the area that I was looking for ultimately. But this red line, you have the settlement there, which is the red dash line. You have today's POC down there. And this happens to be, I believe it's this week's weekly POC. So by the time that becomes a weekly POC, there's a lot of volume there. So there's a lot of pull. And obviously, everybody else was looking at that as an area to, get out. And whether they're going to continue or not is, we don't know. So you can see after I added these other contracts, it starts to stall. When I added those, I expected a quick trip at least back to that settlement weekly POC area. And it just starts to get hung up here. So I start peeling off some of that risk, just so if this does go against me, I'm not walking away with nothing. And ultimately, it ends up completing that move down there, but I didn't know that was going to happen. So I kind of went into mitigating a little bit of taking some of the risk off. And like I said, so I didn't end up with nothing out of this. I'm usually trying to get to at least 20 ticks. You can see I'm just about there. So I'll take, that's like the minimum that I try to take. So I took that one off just to get rid of it. And then here I'm looking for my 20 ticks. Right there. Now you can see how tight I played these ones. And you could even see how I brought the contracts down, to cover this or protect it. I wouldn't normally, bring it down that quickly. But if you remember the day before when I was forcing that to try to get to the lows, that was kind of rolling in my head. And just the way it's getting hung up here in this kind of a low volume node, I thought it should slice right through there. When it didn't, like I said, I started mitigating some of the risk. I felt comfortable, I'm protected to the upside. I've taken some off now so that, if this does take me out, I don't walk away with nothing. So I was comfortable letting these two kind of play out, even though I'm still bringing the stops down, because at this point, I don't think I should be back up there by my entry. So I take my first one here. I'm holding that last one just to see if we do get a breakthrough here. And right there, it takes me out on that last one.